So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first session. The number of things we are going to discuss today. One is we will see the outline of what are the topics that we would be covering. I would be doing a lot of hands-on examples with you from today itself. So I will be sharing with you what will be hands-on, what will be case studies that you can practice later. Then in terms of how are we going to look at all the sessions? So should we have the sessions back to back or should we keep a little bit of break, right? In terms of how do you remember all these things and what more should you do after these 12 hours are over, that we can discuss some other time. I mean, in the sense that once we are maybe in the second last or the last lecture, by that time we can discuss how do you continue learning, right? A workshop is not going to be the start and end of your journey. Your data journey is, is a long journey which will never end. There is no destination. So the idea is that after we have covered all these topics, so Power BI, Excel, so on and so forth, I will discuss with you what is the learning path moving forward, right? So how do you keep on practicing and working on more live projects and maybe picking up some live projects from other companies, right? Like that. Okay, now the session is going to be recorded. And where can you all access the recording? So at the end of today's session, I would need the email ID and an account would be created. Right? I'm just going to write it here. So an account created on Teachable. Let me show you how that looks. So once an account is created for you, you will have to go to havishanconsulting.teachable.com. All these links I'll be sharing with you. So you do not need to copy anything right now. And once you go to the website, you will have to log in. The email ID will be the same college email ID that you have. And when you get an email from my side, you will be able to create your own password. All right. So for now, I'm going to use my test account, which is havishrao@gmail.com, and my password. And when you do this, you will notice that there is a complete list of courses available. So for example, there's a course on Power BI, there is a course on R, there's a course on 9. And just like this, there will be a course which is just a recording list of all the lectures. So if I show you from previous year what I did with the college, I can just type IFMR here. And I can't seem to find anything. Just hold on. Okay. So as you can see, this is what I did last year. And you can see that all the lectures are here, right? Like this. So you have number 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The final session, we had to break into different parts, and then the Q&A session that I conduct. So there are two things that I'll be sharing with you. One is the recording for the sessions that we do. For example, today's session will be recorded as well. And then there would be even more content. So there would be content on Power BI, Tableau, and Excel, right? So this is how you access everything. In terms of how do you ask me questions, during the session, you can obviously use the chat window. You can unmute yourself whenever you want to. And then at the end of every session, we will have some time. But this is like a classroom workshop, which means that do not wait till the end to ask me questions. So if you have a problem or if you have a query or if you're curious, you have a specific question you want to ask it then and there. Do not wait, because there are so many topics to be covered. If you don't ask it at that time, it will be too late, right? So please make sure to ask it. What is the outline of what all we'll be covering? We have 12 hours with us. That would be 6 sessions, including today's. And after my introduction, I will be starting with the examples directly. I've already shared the files with you. The topics that I've given to you are more or less confirmed, right? So maybe 1 or 2 things there I might move up and down, but then you can consider this as the final outline, right? So today we are going to focus on dynamic arrays, which are a special set of functions and formulas and computation that we do in Excel that allows you to write one formula but get multiple results. I will explain what this is. So we will do how to remove dollar signs, how to look at something called double negative, that's the unary operator. Then we do some other functions. Then I do some basic spreadsheet modeling with you. I tell you how to make dynamic dashboards. So especially when you work in finance, you have to create parameters. You have to create user inputs so that the end user can decide that if I decrease my GST, what will be the impact? If I increase it, what will be the impact? Right? And then some more advanced functions: index match, offset, rows, indirect. Then this would be 4 hours. Okay, so we will do this between today and next session. Then after that, we have visual basic automation. So that would be VBA programming. VBA programming is used to create user forms to reduce errors, create special functions and processes. And the focus is to reduce the turnaround time, right? To become more efficient. And VBA is 90% of VBA is used in finance, right? Even though other functional areas can also use it, 90% of VBA is used in finance. We also do Power Query, which is an ETL tool available on Excel, where we learn a language called M. That's the name, M. And there are many things that we do here. Again, this is all financial work, how to consolidate multiple files. If your data is scattered across multiple files, how do you make a model, right? How do you work with large data sets? So if you're downloading something from SAP, how do you handle that? How do you work with a PDF? Because Excel, you can't just copy and paste the PDF, right? And then the final session, we'll be focusing on Power BI, which is a Microsoft tool. Some of you might have worked on it, where we learn how to create dynamic dashboards. And by the end of this session, we will create some finance dashboards. Now, when I say finance, this is not hardcore finance. This is simple things, the things that you use all the time. Things like running total, MTD, YTD, financial analysis, financial planning, things like that. And in this, we will use a language called DAX, data analysis expressions. And when I'm covering Power BI, we will maybe also spend 15 minutes on Tableau, because in terms of dashboards, they're almost similar. I mean, the steps are different, but it's the same. I mean, you can make a tree map in Power BI, you can make a tree map in Tableau. You can make a packed bubble chart in Tableau, you can make one in Power BI. Right? Only the steps differ. But the focus is going to be on Power BI, which is the #1 BI tool in the market, used by 97% of Fortune 500 companies. Right? So before I give you all my background, to help you understand what types of projects do I handle and what type of clients I work with and what type of technologies I work on, anything anybody would like to ask so far? Anything on your mind related to the topics. You can also ask me, sir, would you be covering that topic? And I can tell you yes or no. Right? Remember, this is not a financial modeling workshop, not at all. The workshop is on Excel and Power BI, but the way I have chosen all these topics is focused on financial analysis, right? And when I tell you the sort of firms that I work with, you will understand where my experiences come from, right? So
Sir,
yeah,
hello, sir.
tell me.
You have mentioned that we are going to use M language and other stuff, but we don't have any prior knowledge about these languages. How are we going to cope up
Okay,
with these?
all right. First things first, M and DAX are not programming languages, right? They are very similar to Excel. For example, if I may show you, in Excel we write LEM. I'm sure everybody knows this to find the length. How do you find the length in DAX? Same thing. And how do you do it in Power Query, which is an M? You write equal to text dot length. What I'm trying to tell you is that the way we use them is very similar to Excel. These are formula based. So there are functions and there are formulas. It's not like programming where you have to open Visual Studio and work on it. And see, the other answer that I would give you is that even if it was like programming, you still have to learn it. The
Yes, sir.
question is not, but sir, how will be? You have to, because this is all Excel. I'm not teaching you Python and R. So I will be introducing Python as well in the final session, maybe spend some time on it. But then the focus is on Excel. And if you're working in finance, then you have to learn how to work on Power Query and DAX. In fact,
Okay.
to answer your question, I'm sorry, are you saying something?
No, sir, go ahead.
Okay. Now, if you look at the sort of clients that I work with, so my core business, okay, is training and consulting the big fours and investment banking firms. So three of my largest clients are PwC, EY, and D Shaw. And what I do with PwC, EY, and D Shaw is Excel trainings at all levels, right from intermediate to super advanced Excel. And I work with different teams. So I work with what you call line of services. So I work with assurance, taxation, indirect, consulting, right? You name it, I do it. And then also with D Shaw, I do trainings on Power BI and Tableau, right? So I worked both with the India team and the New York team. Of course, my experience is not just in finance. It just happens to be that I do a lot of work with the financial sector, but I'm not a financial guy, right? My experience is not in finance, but I help a lot of financial organizations work better with data. So let me show you my clients. So I work with three of the big fours, Deloitte, EY, and PwC. I mean, I work a lot with them. So for example, with PwC, I have taken over 150 trainings in the last 3.5 years. I started in October 2017. So I have taken more than 150 trainings for them. EY also have taken about 70 trainings for them. Deloitte, I don't do a lot of trainings. I do some consulting work. I work with Allianz partners, and with Allianz, I work with Ritesh, who is who's a friend of mine. He's the director of finance and the CFO. And with Ritesh, we are doing some automation projects. So we're working on some RPA platforms. I help them. So they are transitioning from Excel to Power BI now. Right now, all of their work exclusively, categorically happens on Excel, but they're trying to transition it to Power BI. Then I work with some other sectors as well. So I work with Metropolis. Again, I work with the CEO office. So I work with the CHRO. Metropolis is a pathology lab based out of Bombay. I work with Cvent, which is the world's largest event management software company. So they provide software for events, right? I work with Sterlite Power. Sterlite Power is also one of my biggest clients. It's in the transmission business. So they build electricity transmission towers. And I do both training and consulting work for them, right from finance to HR analytics to marketing operations. And then I work with some random firms and all. And DCM Shriram is also a big client. I work with their chloro-alkali division. Right? So as you can see, my work predominantly is in Excel. I would say about 60% of my work is in Excel. Another 10-15% is on Power BI, but it's very fastly increasing, very rapidly increasing. And the balance is split between different platforms. So I work on Tableau, I work a little bit on Python, R, I work on JavaScript, right? But the focus, right? So I would say about 75% of my business, three-fourths, is between Excel and Power BI, right? And the things that I do is spreadsheet modeling. I do automation using VBA. I'm a VBA expert. And then I work on Power Query and DAX as well. And then I do data visualization. And I'm not a data scientist. I'm more of a data analyst, but I do some data science as well. And I'm also a 40 under 40 in analytics. And I have authored 20 books in analytics, which also include Excel, Power BI, and Tableau. I have run some very successful market research firms. I have worked with different ministries in the government of India. So I have a wealth of experience. And what is very important for you is that my experience is not with one or two or three companies, right? Because I'm a consultant and I have been a consultant for many years. I've had the luxury and the privilege of working with a wide assortment of clients, right? So right from manufacturing to automotive to consumer packaged goods to hardcore finance, investment banking, M&A. So I am not an expert at anything. Let me be very honest, right? I am not a specialist in financial planning or in investment or in marketing analytics or in digital marketing. I'm a generalist, right? Wherever there is a need of data analytics, I'm your guy, right? Wherever you have an Excel file that has to be improved, you want to reduce the errors, you want to improve the efficiency, you want to reduce the turnaround time. I'm the guy who comes in and who can reduce the turnaround time to a tenth, right? That's what I get called for. In terms of college engagements, I work with many institutes for lectures, workshops like this. I judge a lot of competitions, right? Pre-COVID, I used to travel a lot to different institutes as well. And if you're interested, you can just go and see the different collaborations I've had with different institutes in the last 2.5 years, right? And what else? I also have a business division which handles online courses. So I have courses um, on 29. There are 29 different courses which are on Excel, PowerPoint, Power BI, Tableau, R, Python, Word, SQL, and then a data science tool called Nine. Right. Of course, as you can see, my expertise is in Excel and Power BI, but I'm a fairly expert user at other platforms as well. You will be getting access to a lot of these lectures as well, and you will find everything on the Teachable platform. Yeah. Any question, anyone? So I hope that gives you a sense of what I do, what Havisham Consulting does. We do both training and consulting for different types of firms, but about 1/3 of my work happens with the Big Fours. Right? So see, don't worry about the fact that, so we don't come from programming. I'm a commerce student, FYI. I was a very bad commerce student. That's a different matter. I'm a commerce student. I did a BBA in marketing. I did an MBA in marketing and finance. Right. I mean, I had a minor in finance. Only 3 lectures I took, 3 courses I took. All the others were in marketing. But I'm a marketing major, so to say. So I don't have a background in IT. In fact, when I started coding was in 2014, when I was 27, right? And I've only been coding for about the last 7 years. What I'm trying to tell you is that um, today the question is not whether you belong to that background or not. You have to work on it. If you're working on Excel, everyone, right? And you say, I'm sure all of you will agree with me that Excel is the most important thing for finance students, other than your academic learning, right? Among any other tools out there. If you notice, I can do TypeScript and JavaScript inside Excel. This is hardcore programming. Now, some of you might say, I'm not interested, or I don't like it, or I'm a little scared of picking up coding, or maybe I tried it, but I did not find it comfortable. It doesn't matter, because when you're applying for a job, they're not going to ask you, do you like it or not? They're going to ask you, are you a finance student with coding knowledge, or are you a finance student without coding knowledge? The moment you say, I do not know how to code, you automatically lose a few points, right? And I'm not sharing my my strong idea with you. I'm sharing my experiences with you, right? I mentor a lot of students, and I work with so many organizations, and we only see that the need of coding is increasing with time. All right. So don't worry, I'll be holding your hand through all of this. And trust me, even at PwC and EY, we are covering these topics for the first time. I mean, if I show you my calendar, just to make you feel a little at ease, all this while that you see, these are either PwC or EY trainings. Okay, so I did a training with PwC yesterday and the day before from 9:30 to 1:30. This was for the assurance team, right? And we did Power Query. And to everybody, there were 43 people. To everybody, Power Query was the first time they had heard of it, and obviously they had used it. So that's okay. We are all starting at some point, and 99% of Excel users are coming with no background in Power Query. Right? It's new for all of us. I started working with it in March 2018, which is about 3 years back, and I'm happy I started early because now I have a head start. Right? But even now, if you go and speak to other peers from other colleges, I'm very confident that almost everyone will tell you what is Power Query. We have never heard of it, right? But then you should know that, especially in finance, for every area, but especially in finance, this is a must. I mean, I can't even say that, oh, it's great if you know it and it will give you some bonus points. It is an absolute must. You cannot call yourself an Excel user if you do not know how to work on Power Query, right? As simple as that. Good. Anything else, anybody? Now we're going to start with the topics. So we'll start a hands-on training. But if there's anything you would like to ask, you can let me know. All good? All right. Now, I have already shared 2 files with you. One is problems, which are different problems using different solutions. And the other is a data set called Global Superstore. All right. What I would request everybody to do is to not open these files on Excel. Okay. I'll say that once again. Do not open these files on Excel. And what is the reason for that? For new features, Excel 2016, 19 will not work. Okay. If you need all the new features in Excel, you need what is called Microsoft 365. Earlier, it was called Office 365. Now they have renamed it to Microsoft 365. And where do you find it? For Microsoft 365, if I just Google it, No, let me go to the products. Just a minute. So if you look at the home edition for Microsoft 365, it will cost you 489 rupees per month or 4,899 per year. Now, if you say, but sir, this is not what we want. Can't we just buy it like a perpetual license? You can't. Microsoft now has moved away from the concept of selling a software perpetually. Like earlier, when you purchased 2019, with your laptops, you must have got student license, home license, all that. That is for life, correct? This is not like that. Microsoft Office now is like Netflix. As long as you keep on paying that monthly fee, you have access. The day you stop paying, you don't have anything. Right? Like it or hate it, this is the way Microsoft has decided its future is. And if you need all the latest features, you need to have Microsoft 365 with you. But what do you do if you don't have it, right? Can somebody open an Excel file, please, and share your screen with me? Anyone? Can you just open? Have you been given a copy of Office from your college? Can you confirm?
No, sir.
No? Okay. Then there's no point checking, because I'm sure that all of you either have 16 or 19, obviously. There is a new version called 2021, which is going to get announced, which will have a few more features. But I hope this part is very clear. That's why I've written it. If you need for new features, Excel 1619 will not work. You only need to have Microsoft 365. But then what do you do? Because if you don't have it, then how are you going to use all the latest features on which we are going to work today? So please do this with me. Go to office.com, everybody. Please go to office.com and please sign in. If you do not have an account, please create one. It will just take you 2 minutes because we will be needing it going forward. Okay? You can just use any ID to create an account. So the account that I'm showing to you right now, which is my Havish Rao email ID, this is a free account, everyone. Obviously, I have a personal paid account. I also have a business account, but I'm not going to show that to you because you don't have it. Right? So that is why what I have done is I have also logged in with my personal account, and this is a non-paid account. This is a free account that I have. Right? Please do this and let me know if you have any issue. In the meantime, I'll just clean up everything so that there is no confusion.
Hello, sir.
Tell me.
So can you? So can I share my screen and
Please.
could you confirm if this is my 365 one or not?
Yeah, please share. Yeah, so don't do this. Is just go to any cell and write equal to unique. Yeah, so you don't have unique function, right? So that means you don't have 365.
Okay, sir.
By the way, hold on. Can you click on file? Everyone just watch. Click on file on the left side. The first tab, click on options. No, click on account, the one above options. Go back to file. No, go back to file. And if you look down, yeah, click on account.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. No problem. File and then account. And you can see here that you have the home as student 2016, correct? And like I said, even if you have 19, it will still not work. Right, everyone? So all of you who are curious that do I by chance have the 365 account? It's very unlikely because when you purchase a new laptop, they never give you a 365 subscription. Even if they give you one, it is always on trial because it's a monthly subscription. You have to pay for it. Right? Okay, Kshitij, no, can you share your screen again?
Yes, sir.
So that I can help the others as well. And just go to your browser.
Okay, should I close this Excel?
You can close the Excel. We don't need the Excel anymore. Right? Just open your browser.
Just a minute, sir.
Have you shared your screen? Because I can't see anything.
Sir, I'm doing it right away.
Sure.
So I did it.
Yeah, go to office.com. Do you have just click on sign in, the orange button. Yeah. Do you have a Microsoft account?
Yes, sir, I have it, but I think I have
Just try.
forgotten my password.
No problem. Just try. And everybody else, I hope you're looking at it. This is how you will all have to sign in.
If we have Office 365, can we just continue with the Excel itself?
Yeah, I would still request you to do it online, because even if you have Office 365, you might not have all the features, because if you're on the business edition, you have more features. And also, if you are working online, as new features come in, they get rolled out first online, right? So the problem is that even if you have Office 365, there is a possibility that I might be showing you something and you say, sir, I don't have this feature. You can try, like maybe you can keep both of them open. I leave that up to you. But if at all you're not able to find that function on the local desktop version, make sure to have the browser open, right?
So the online, these features are free.
No, say that again.
If we are working online, so the all new features are free for us.
Yeah,
We don't
absolutely.
have to pay for
Absolutely. Online is online, right? So online gets updated as in how it happens. Okay, Kshitij, the next thing I
Yes,
want you
sir.
to do is to
Yes,
take
sir.
the two files and upload it, please. You can even drag and drop it. The two files that I shared with you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, both of them. Can't you select both at the same time? Never mind. Just select the problems first. Yeah. Excellent. Now, can you just click on a cell and type unique, equal to unique? That's strange. No, just type once again. You're getting it, right? Excellent.
Yes.
So everybody, I know we took some time, but it was important for you to, set everything up. Okay, so I'll say it one more time. If you are getting this function called unique on your local Excel that is installed on your computer, then you can even work on your local Excel, right? But I would suggest very strongly, because see, the formulas and functions will not change. The purpose for you is to learn, correct? So just make sure to upload it and work on it. But if you feel that you want to use it and you have the feature, please go ahead, right? All right.
So should I stop sharing my screen?
Yeah, you can stop your sharing. I'll share mine. So I'm also going to do the exact same thing that Kshitij did, which is to select the file, which is problems, and I'm going to upload it. Just a moment. Okay, so I will close this and we come here, and I want to select my folder, which is problem, and I will upload it.
64.
Right? Excellent. So everyone, let's start working on this, please. Please come to the first sheet. Now, the first question is, what level of parity is there between online and desktop? Because 2 years, 3 years back, Excel Online used to be very bad, and that's why Google Sheets kept on being more popular, at least in the online space, right? Because Excel Online was never focused on by Microsoft. Thankfully, that has now changed, and if you look at the interface, you will notice that almost, I would still not say 100%, but almost all the features that you have on Excel desktop is there online as well, right? And definitely in the next maybe 12 months, 18 months, there would be 100% parity. That means that everything you get on the desktop will be available online as well. All right. Okay. First question. Please come to the first sheet called intro. And this is my question. In column B, I have sales values, and in column C, I have the profit margin. Can somebody tell me what is the total profit that the business has earned? How do we do that? There are different transactions, right? And in these transactions, I have the profit margin. So how do you find the total profit?
Equals to sum product of both the columns.
Okay. Now, those of you who know some product will say, okay, but why is it difficult? I can just select some product, right? Like this, and it gives me the sum. And that works. But let me spin the question in a different way, all right? What if I say that I have my sales and my profit margin, but I do not want to use some product. I want to see a different result. That means I want to see 214 into 9%, 476 into 2% like this. How do you do that? If you want to see a separate result for each row.
Add the formula of the first cell.
This is what we usually do, isn't it? We put the first formula and then we drag it down, correct? Everyone? But with the concept of dynamic arrays, now what we can do in Excel is I can say equal to B5 to B17 multiplied by C5 to C17. Tell me, is there something incorrect with the way I have written the formula? Whatever you think is the correct answer, right? Just speak your mind. Do you think this is correct, the way I have written the formula?
So the brackets will be there.
Yeah, so the parentheses is not really required. By the way, everyone, parentheses, brackets, and curly bracket, okay? I'm just going to zoom in so that we are very clear about this, right? So we are going to use parentheses most of the time. In some examples, we are going to use the bracket, and somewhere we might use the curly bracket or the curly braces as well, right? So yeah, I mean, you can say parentheses, but that's not really the problem here because the multiplication is between two sets, right? There is no confusion about whether B5, B70 is together. It is together. Now, if I had asked you this question in 2018, you would have told me this is wrong because you can't multiply many cells with many cells. You can't multiply 13 cells with 13 cells, correct? But please press enter now and see what happens, everyone. Right? So some of you might say, okay, but what's the big deal? It is a very big deal. It is a very big deal because in Excel, we have always said that no matter how complex the formula, you have to write one formula and then you have to copy and paste or drag it. Now what we're able to do is to tell Excel that, see, when I'm trying to multiply 13 cells by 13 cells, Excel says, but Havish, how can I show you 13 values in a single cell? So it does what is called a spill. The spill means that if I had something written here, it will give me a spill error. Makes sense, right? So Excel is trying to tell me that, Havish, it doesn't make sense. You told me to do a calculation, but that calculation is giving you 13 results. But how can I show you 13 results? Because the fifth cell has a value in it. And obviously Excel will not overwrite it without my permission, right? But the moment I delete it, it gives me 13 values. Right, everybody? Now tell me, how do I see the sum of all these values? Sum. You can write sum.
Auto sum, sir?
No. I don't want to write sum outside. See, the beauty is that I can write the sum like this. Now, some of you might be smart and say, what's the big deal? We could have done this via sum product as well. Can somebody tell me what is the difference between sum product and this? What is the advantage of doing it like this over the sum product?
So we can just delete the sum and see the individual components too.
Absolutely. One very big advantage, everybody, is that in sum product, while it is giving you the result, it is not really showing you all the independent transaction-wise profit values, correct? That's one. What is the other reason? Tell me something. What if I ask you to tell me the average profit? How can you change the sum product formula?
Divide the sum product by the
You can't.
number.
Divided by.
No, you can't. Of course, you can divide it by and all that, but you can't because the idea is it is the sum of the products, correct? What do I do here? I can just come and say that it is average. You see what I'm doing, isn't it? The point is that sum product is a beautiful formula. It's a very unique formula because sum product used to be the only array formula in Excel, very different than everything else. but it is very rigid because the only thing it can do is find out the product and find the sum. The moment you say, no, I don't want to find the product, I want to divide it, or I don't want to find the sum, I want to find the average, you can't do any of that. Now, thankfully, you are able to do all this by using the concept of dynamic arrays, right? Now, you will have to do a little bit of reading to understand what dynamic arrays are in Excel. Right? Dynamic arrays were introduced in September 2018. They were announced in September 2018. And over the last 2.5 years, gradually they have made it more accessible to people, right? So today, Excel 2016 and 19 does not have dynamic arrays. So if you try to write the same formula on your local Excel, you can even try it. It will not give you a result. It will just give you an error, right? That is why you need to have the latest version of Microsoft, which is Microsoft Office 365. All right. Now, the video that I want you to watch is this one, right? Or even Computer Gaga should be good. What I'm also doing is I'm going to copy this link and put it on the notepad so that you can look at all this later. I will also be giving you access to a complete course on dynamic arrays. So on your Teachable account, there will be a complete course on dynamic arrays, which is this one, right? So it's a 1-hour lecture with 1-hour course with 20 lectures in it, and it covers dynamic arrays very well. Okay, any questions, anybody so far before we do the next example?
No, sir.
Sir,
Tell me.
so what if there's a blank in between all the cells or the profit margin rows?
Doesn't matter. If there's a blank, there's a blank. It will not multiply. For example, let's say this 214 did not have a profit margin. Okay? So this will not multiply by anything.
Okay, sir.
Okay. All right. Great. I have a list of mobile numbers. Let's say this is the data that has come from my software or it has come from a survey. And I want to know that out of these 14 mobile numbers that I have, what percentage of mobile numbers are incorrect? How would you do that? Try to use what we learned in the previous example and tell me what would be the first thing that I do. Equal to? What is the length of a mobile number?
So 10 digits.
So what should I write?
LEN.
Okay. And then select what?
The array.
Everything. Remember, we don't want to select row by row. We want to select the entire range. And after this, what should I write? Equal to length of HY17?
Is equal to 10.
Absolutely equal to 10. Now, before I press enter, what do you think the answer would be?
True or false?
True or false? But how many trues and false will be there? 14. Because I'm checking 14 cells, am I not? So there would also be 14 answers like this. Essentially, a corresponding column is created, right? How many trues can you see here? I have 1. In fact, let's count the false here. So because that's what we need to find. So we have 1, we have 2, and we have 3. How do I count the number of falses here?
Count function.
Okay. If I do equal to count, I can't just count it, no, because count will only work with numbers.
Count if
Okay.
maybe.
Now, some of you might say, okay, why don't I do COUNTIF, right? And I can select COUNTIF like this. But do you notice it is not selecting J5 colon J18. It is selecting J5 hash. Can somebody tell me what does the hash mean?
Spill values.
Exactly. The hash means it's a spill values. That means that J5 is the first item in my formula, and all the others are dependent on that formula, right? And what do I put as a criteria here? False. Should I put false in double quote or without a double quote?
With double quotes, sir.
Okay. If I put it without, it works. If I put it with, right, it still works. So it doesn't matter. So now, can I combine everything? Can I not just say that, okay, COUNTIF, right? And then in this entire range, I want to count the number of times false is coming. But there is some problem. See, When I wrote COUNTIF separately, it was working. But when I'm trying to do it like this, inside a single formula, it doesn't seem to work. Can somebody tell me why? This is exactly what we did earlier as well, right? There's no difference. The only difference is that earlier it was a two-step formula. First, I found out the true and false. This time I'm finding the COUNTIF, and this is the result. This is the criteria for the COUNTIF. So there's no difference in the formula. But why is it not working?
So earlier in the place of length, we have a value there, but now we are having a function there.
Yeah, but is this okay? You're absolutely right that we have a function, but would you not say that this function is resulting in values? This length of h for h17 equal to 10. If I press F9, well, actually F9 doesn't work online. Never mind. Length of h for h17 equal to 10 is going to give me a range, isn't it? Now it's very hard to explain why it doesn't work. You just have to, I don't know, memorize it. That COUNTIF does not work if you give it a range like this. It works for sum, it works for count, but it doesn't work for COUNTIF. And it's very irritating because if you look at it, it works when you do it separately. If you do it as a two-step process, it works. So the trick here is, I will want to convert the true and false into 1 and 0. How do we do that? How do I convert the true into 1 and the false into 0? Anybody?
So find and replace.
No. Find and replace will be manual. No? Every time I'm not going to do it manually. What function do I write to say that true is 1 and if, right? But that would unnecessarily make it a long formula. I'll have to say if this result is true, then false, then true, otherwise false. So I'm going to use something called a double negative. Okay, like this. Just look carefully what I've done. My entire formula I have put inside a parentheses. And after the equal to sign and before the parentheses, I have put what is called a unary operator. I'm just going to type it here. It is called a unary operator, which is also called as a double negative. And what is the role of the unary operator? A very simple, specific role. The unary operator converts true into 1 and false into 0. That's it. It doesn't do anything else. Now what can I do? How do I count the number of false here? Anybody?
COUNTIF.
No. Make it simpler. If I just do sum, what will happen? It will give me 11. What is 11?
Number of
the number of mobile numbers that are correct. But I need to find the opposite, isn't it? So what should I do?
1 minus.
Sure, I can. But what I can also do is I can use something called not. What will it do?
Okay. Only
Everyone?
those.
Reverse.
Yes.
0 becomes 1, 1 becomes 0. Make sense? But the unary operator should actually come like this. What is happening? I'm finding the length. The answer is either true or false. I'm reversing the result because I want to find the false, not the true. Now this time only the 1 is coming for the false. And now I can just come and say that, okay, I need to know the sum of this. And it tells me that 3 of these are incorrect. That means either it is less than 10 or more than 10. And to find a percentage, you can just say divided by the count of all these numbers. So it tells you that in your total data set, 21% of your values are incorrect.
Could you repeat from not? I lost you there.
Sure. Okay. Just a minute. Okay, so far everybody is clear. We're just finding if the length is equal to 10 or not. But then I don't want a true for a number that is 10. I want a true for the one which is not equal to 10. Now another smart way is we could have said, what is the sign? Anyone?
Greater than or less than. Or
No,
not
it's
equal
not,
to
it's
10.
not greater than less.
Not equal to
okay?
10.
So this is not equal to sign. This way what will happen? You will only get true in 3 places. Now do you see how, this is why people love Excel or hate Excel. Because people say, I want to learn one way of doing things. But the thing is, there is no one way. There are always many ways of doing something. And it is up to you to be smart and figure out the most efficient technique. Because if I change the equal to into not equal to, now I don't need to write the not. Now I can just say double negative. I get 1 and 0. And then I can say, okay, tell me the sum of how many ones are coming. Because obviously only the sum, the ones will be counted, right? And all the zeros will not be counted. So it tells me there are 3 truths that are coming. That means there are 3 numbers which is not having a length equal to 10. Okay, please try this out. See, all these topics are going to require you a lot of practice. And the reason is that, number one, you have never done this earlier because it's all new. And number two, there is a learning curve, right? Even if now you're able to understand it, trust me, it took me a while to really understand how dynamic arrays work, right? Also for double negative for unary, I'll share a link with all of you. So let's call this double negative unary except. Even though there's not much to read, like I said, the only thing it does is it coerces, right? So it changes true or false into 1 and 0. That's all, right? This concept, I have taken 150 trainings at PwC on an average 40 participants. So there's about 6,000 people that I've trained. Let's say remove the duplicates, at least 4,000 people, if not more, across different levels from associates till partners. And I can assure you that out of these 4,000 people, not even 40 of them would have heard of the double negative. It's one of those things, you know. In financial analysis, this can help you so much. I can't even begin to tell you how important this is and how easy this can make certain tasks in your models. It's just one of those things that we have never heard of it. Nobody seems to know it. And once you know it, you realize that, but oh, this can help me in a lot of places, but we just don't end up using it. Even before dynamic arrays were there. Just go ask around you, and I can assure you that 99% of people you ask will say, what is double unary? We have never heard of it. Double negative. Great. Anything, anyone on this? All good? All right. Let's move on. Let's not stop. Now there's a simple scenario that we want to create. I have my previous year sales with me, which is all these names. And for these 8 people, I want to create different scenarios. So for Darren, I'm saying that Darren has done 21,000 last year. So if this year Darren does a YOY of 10%, then what can I expect the total sales to be? What if Darren does even better at 12%, 14%, and 16%? So there is a stretch target, there is a realistic target, and there is a worst case scenario. So 10 would be my worst case. These are realistic scenarios, and this is my stretch target, right? 16%. So can somebody tell me if 21,000 was done last year, what should be the target for this year? Equal to what? Anyone?
21,000 into 1.1.
A 1 plus 10%. Everybody agrees? What is the problem with this formula that I've written? I'm getting the result 21,000 plus 2,100, but what is the problem with this formula?
Single cell.
The cell referencing.
Dollars have to come. Cell referencing has to be done. So where do I put the reference? What is the easy way to know where the reference comes? Let me highlight it for you. Just a minute. I accidentally refreshed my page. Just give me a moment. Let me give you a hint. Okay. Can somebody tell me now where does the dollar sign come?
Before
First
O.
would come O and then
Before O or after O?
So
before
before
O,
O.
sir.
Before O.
So we are locking the first column and we are locking
The row.
After 5. Before 5.
before 5. We are locking the first row. That's the rule, thumb rule you should always follow. No matter what type of data it is, how large or complex it is, the dollar sign always comes in a table where you have both rows and columns, in the first column and in the first row. Okay, always remember this. Right, but I don't want to do all that. You know why? Because then you have to make sure that you put it correctly. What if you make a mistake? What if you send this to somebody who doesn't know how to put dollar sign? And what if you're in a hurry and you don't want to spend that additional time? What I'm going to do now is equal to 06013 multiplied by 1 plus P5 S5. Very smart. And dynamic arrays will take care of the rest. One formula, all the results. Can you see how much of an impact dynamic arrays can have now? Of course, dollar signs have other advantages, like tomorrow if another name gets added, you can copy the formula, which you can't do in dynamic arrays. But I'm just trying to show you that for a one single solution, right, a one-time solution, how much faster dynamic arrays are and how much simpler it is. Right, working for everyone. Any questions? Right. Okay, good. So I hope by now you're feeling comfortable with dynamic arrays. Just a moment. Right. So what all we have done so far, we have done simply multiplying a column by another column. We have done the double negative, that is a unary operator. And we've also done the multiplication of a column with a row like this. Right. Okay. Let's move on to the next problem, please. And in this, we will be introducing a new function, in fact, two new functions. The first question is, I want to know how many unique customers have purchased from me, right? So this is my transactional sales data. And I want to know how many unique customers have purchased. Can somebody tell me, out of these customers, how do I find how many unique customers are there?
Equals to unique, and then select the
Absolutely.
first column.
We say equal to unique. What will be the result? A list. Okay. Unique does not tell you the number of unique, it gives you a list of unique. How do I find the count?
Count.
No, not just count. Count of what type?
Count bracket start then.
Count A. Count will only count numbers, remember? So you need to have count all, which will count the text value. Right? Please try this, everybody.
Sir,
Tell me.
sir, can you just repeat again the count A?
Yeah, so if I've written 1, 2, and 3, I can say count, and it tells me the count is 3 characters, right?
Okay.
If I've written A, D, and F, I can't do count because count will only count numbers. If you want to count text values, you have to do count A. That's all.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you.
And count A will count both numbers and text together.
Okay, okay.
This is very simple. I mean, there's really no question on this. The next question is very interesting, and I want all of you to think before you answer. Same data, different segments, all right? My question is, how many unique customers have purchased in the consumer segment? How do you find that? You can see we have corporate, consumer, and home office, but I only need to know the number of unique customers in the consumer segment. How do you tell me the answer?
Add a COUNTIF before and mention it to be consumer and then count.
How? I will say COUNTIF of what? What is the range? If I say COUNTIF I5 to I14 and I say that the criteria, okay, I'm sorry, what am I doing? So I say COUNTIF and I say in this, yeah, I say my criteria, but how can I put my criteria here? Can I put my criteria like this and I can say consumer? Doesn't make sense, right? It will not work. Think about it. You can even try. And it's very good, okay? So just because I tell you, no, don't use this function doesn't mean you shouldn't practice. I have learned more by the things that have not worked because Everybody says, no, we should learn the one perfect way. I'm somebody who feels I want to keep on experimenting and trying out different combinations. So it's a very good habit, okay, to try out different combinations. What we will do is to use something called filter. That means I have my data set, but I don't need the entire data. I need to filter my data. So can somebody tell me that from my entire data, what do we want to filter? On what criteria?
Segment.
That the segment should be consumer, correct? I will say that from my entire data, the column J5 to J14 should be equal to, let's select a cell, let's say P2, right? And in P2, I'm going to write consumer. So what will happen? It will only show me those records where it is the consumer segment. Please start with this, then we'll continue with the formula.
For the previous problem, I'm getting 0 as the count.
Just double
Count
check.
A. Okay, got it. My mistake. I got the mistake.
Right, everyone? So I'm also writing the formula here so that you can see formula text. You can see what we have written. Right? So I've said that I want to sort, or I'm sorry, I want to filter the entire 3 columns, but there is a condition. And what is the condition? That the J column should be equal to consumer. And just see how dynamic it is. So if I change it to corporate, it will only show me 2 records. If I make it home office, it will only show me 1 record. I mean, this is such a fantastic function in Excel. You can't imagine. Usually in Excel, in finance, what do? We have the SAP data. We have to send it to 5 heads of businesses, and we first apply a filter. Is this not what you do? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if any of your work experience, but we apply a filter. So first we will say, okay, let me select the consumer, then the corporate. It's ridiculous, right? Because every time you have to manually do it and copy and paste. And there are 100 other issues that come up. The beauty of the filter function is that it filters the data without you having to actually apply the filter. And we have one more example in which we do a more advanced example. Like in this case, we only had 1 condition. In the filter example, we will do 3 conditions, right? Any questions, anyone so far?
So I just got the list of unique customers in that segment. I did not get the consumer and the sales values beside
No, because you must have, what is the array that you have selected? Is it I to K?
No, sir, I didn't take I to K at the first.
What have you taken?
I just took the I thing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Which is correct. By the way, everyone, by the way, that is correct, because what is the problem statement right now? I don't need to know the segment and the sales, right? I just did it to show it to you. We only need column I, isn't it? Think about it. I'm not interested to see segment and sales. I only want to get the blue column, but there is a condition that the red column should have the consumer in it. Now tell me, how do you find the unique from this? Simple, just write unique here. Count. And then write counting. Absolutely. Write unique, and then you can say count A. And beautifully, now it tells you that in the consumer segment, there are 5 unique customers. In the corporate segment, there are 2 unique customers. And in home office, obviously, there will be 1 because there's only 1 transaction. Right? Like this. I'm also coloring my parameter yellow so that you can identify it.
Sir, I have one doubt in the first example. The unique function also pick the blank cells as a 1. For example, if you delete the row number 13, rn back 1.
But there would never be a blank row in the data, no? It doesn't make sense. You can't have a blank row in the data.
But by mistake, if a system didn't capture the value, the unique function actually pick it as a blank cell and it will get it 8. That's the error.
Then you do a -1 because blanks are blanks now. So, I mean, that's what we do. I mean, I'm not joking. That's really what we would do. Or maybe if you really want to make it complicated just for the sake of it, I will show you, but promise me not to get confused, okay?
Yeah, please.
We will be covering these topics somewhat later. So everybody, don't focus too much on this example. Like I said, it's a little advanced. Let me think. The first thing I'll have to do is I'll have to say equal to my data is not equal to blank, right?
Okay.
So it gives me 1 false, right?
Right.
Now I will say that I want to filter my data, which is the same data, okay? E5 to E14. So I'm just going to put it here. And what is the condition now? The condition is that it should be true. So now what will happen? It will remove the blank.
Right.
Once it removes the blank, then you can do basically unique and counter and all that.
Okay, great.
Makes
Thank you
sense,
so
right?
much. Yes,
So first
makes
you
sense.
have to put a filter. What is the role of the filter? To remove the blank, and then you continue with the rest of the operations. But good observation, right? Because absolutely, I mean, even though blank is not a very big problem, because if there is a blank, we know there is a blank and we can use count blank and all that. But it's a good observation nevertheless. Good. Anything on this? Anyone?
Sir, I'm getting 21.
21.
Yes, sir. Same for me as well.
But there are only we only have 10 names. How can you get 21? Just make sure you have only selected column I in the array.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Because see, we only want to count, we only want to find the unique and find the count of column A, right? Not of the other
The
columns.
entire, yes.
Just keep that in mind. See, whenever we are learning anything, formulas or whatever it is, always make sure not to focus on the syntax too much. Let me explain that. A lot of people will say, no, the syntax is very important, this and that. See, the syntax you will get comfortable with the more you practice. That will happen on its own. You don't have to do it specifically. The focus should be more on the understanding. So if I ask you tomorrow, why do we need the filter function? You should be able to explain to me in one line that if we have a data set which has 15 rows in it, but we don't want all the 15 rows, we want a subset of the data. That is what I would like you to remember. Not tell me that, oh, there is one parenthesis and there is a comma in another parenthesis. Do I not make mistakes? I also make mistakes. There are many times where I might forget to put a parenthesis. But that's easy to fix. You can always go and find that. You can always learn that later, right? But if you say that, Havish, we have done the example, we got the result, but I'm not sure why we are using filter, then I would not be happy, right? So just make sure that whatever questions you have, you ask, because we will keep on moving forward. We'll not have time to come back to all this, all right? Great. Any question on this? Anybody? Now, there's one tiny problem with Excel Online, which I wish they had done it, but I don't know why they have not done it. Let me show you. See, what happens is that when you're working on normal Excel, right? And I have the same, just give me a moment. I'll copy the same data. And let me just put it somewhere. And we have the same formula as well, right? Can somebody tell me, just give me a moment. Why do I have to type it again? I'm not sure. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We say equal to count all. We say unique. And then we say we want to do a filter of my first value as per this being equal to, let's say, G1. Right? Okay. Can somebody identify what is the difference between the formula in Excel and the formula online? Let me open both of them. Quick, what is the difference?
You can match the parentheses with the color.
Exactly. Colors. The fact that you have these colors is so helpful. You know, it's one of those things that before I asked you this question, we never thought about it. You know, that we have colors in, because we expect that, of course, there are colors in, otherwise, how would we work? The problem is that when you're working online, you don't get colors in parentheses. You're getting colors for the range that you're selecting, which is great. But then the parentheses is a problem, right? And I wish they had done it. I don't know, they might add it later, but for whatever reason, they have not done it. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do about it. In fact, Excel Online parentheses color. I'm not sure if somebody had asked for this. Is there a question? Let me check that as well. I'm sure, sorry, Likit, what's that? 6K for the color?
The subscription is for the color.
No, I have a paid account. It doesn't work even on that. 1 second. So, Yeah, I don't think so, because I don't recall reading anywhere that it's there or they're planning to launch it. But I know the Excel manager, the product manager for Excel, Keyur Patel, so I'll ping him on LinkedIn and see if he has something to say. Anyway, great. Let's come to sorting, please. The sort sheet, everybody. And now we can increase the pace because you must all be getting more comfortable with dynamic arrays, right? We have transactions where we have values, and there are 13 transactions. I want to sort the sales. Can anybody quickly guess what do you think the function will be? Sort. I select my array. Now, how do I decide if I want ascending or descending? You notice that. Leave the sort index. In the sort order, if I say 1, it will give me ascending. If I say -1, it will give me descending. Okay, please try this out, everybody. Any questions on this, anyone? Now, some of you might say, Habish, how do you remember that 1 and -1 have to be put in the sort order? Some of these things you just have to remember. And this is also a problem. Like in normal Excel, when you write sort, you see that it tells me that 1 is ascending and -1 is descending. You get this prompt that appears. Unfortunately, when you're working on Excel online, the prompt does not come, which, if you ask me, is a little stupid, because if it doesn't show you the prompt, how am I supposed to know that 1 is for something and -1 is for something different? Right? But then again, I really can't do much here. I can only tell you that to remember that -1 and 1 are there. Right? Okay, now a little different. I want to sort names as per the sales. That means I want to see the list of customers as per the value that they have generated for the business. So I will say sort by. What do we want to sort? Column B. On the basis of which column? On the basis of column D. And what is the sort order? It should be -1. Okay? So it tells me that Jack is the first one because Jack is 490. Brian is the second one because Brian is 473, followed by Darren. Right? I'm also writing the formulas at the top so that if you want to look at it, you can. Formula text and formula text. Right? Increase the width as well. Right? These are very simple. I don't think you will have any trouble, but still do practice. If you have any questions, please ask. All good. And this time we only sorted one column, but if you wanted to sort everything, you can just copy the same thing, come here and say that I don't want to sort column B. I want to sort everything from column B to column D. And everything gets sorted like this. Any questions, anyone?
Sir?
Yeah.
So will these formulas work across whole worksheet or just within the worksheet?
What does that mean?
So like I can take the sales data from one sheet and the array data from other sheet.
100%. 100%. They work just like any other formulas. So just like you do sum and VLOOKUP, there is nothing special about sort and filter, which are dynamic formulas. As long as the height is the same, obviously. If there are 13 values, then they have to be 13 corresponding values. It will work. It will even work with a different workbook. Why just a different sheet? Even a different workbook.
Okay, sir.
Okay, let me ask you a question. I have this data and this is great. What if I want to reverse it? What if I want to make it ascending? I have to change the formula, but I don't think that's a very good user experience, right? Because the moment I say that the user has to come to the first formula and, imagine you're presenting it to your CFO. Will you tell the CFO that go to the cell F4 and change the value? Of course not. So ideally, what should be there? There should be a parameter. So I'm creating a parameter and I'm calling it the order. And here I can write ASC. This means that I will say, rather than me hard coding the value 1 or -1, we can either use choose or we can also write if. Let me see if choose works here. Let me think just a moment. That doesn't make any sense. Hold on, I also need some help. Otherwise, we'll do it with if, but I quickly want to check. So choose accept. Let's quickly see. Oh, that will get converted into a number. One moment. Yeah, you know what? Let's not do this. I don't think this will even work. Where is my screen gone? I'm sorry. Did I close the window? No, it's there. All right, so what I'll do is I'll simply say if the user has chosen equal to ASC, then the result should be 1, otherwise it should be -1, like this. And now it's very smart because if I say descending, it will make it descending, ASC will give me ascending. And this is your first step to see how a dynamic model or a dynamic dashboard is created. A good dashboard is one where the user experience is good, obviously, and the user has as much level of control that you want to give them. The last thing you ever want to do is to tell the user to go to a cell and change the input. Absolutely not. What if they make a mistake? What if they don't understand? What if they don't have the capability of doing it? Right? That's why they should have an input like the one that I have created.
So, can you explain why that if function was used once again? I couldn't.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that if the user is selecting ASC, then the sort index should be 1. If the user is not selecting ASC, then the sort value will be -1.
So why don't we just use the cell reference to -1 and cell reference to 1 as like that?
I mean like this?
Yes, sir.
If I share it with the user, will they understand what is 1 and what is -1?
Okay.
See, a model has to be descriptive to multiple stakeholders, isn't it? You might be in finance, your team might know 1 and -1 refer to ascending and descending. What if you share it with other stakeholders, other internal stakeholders? How do they know that what is 1 and what is -1? A good model does not require the user to know and have knowledge of these functions. For the user, you are saying, choose the order. They just know, okay, I can change the order here, and by changing the order here, my results change. That's it.
Okay.
Something I strongly recommend that all of you should be reading. Have you heard of the FAST standard? Anybody? Okay,
no,
definitely read it. So FAST standard of financial standards. So essentially, it stands for flexible, appropriate, structured, and transparent. And if you look at the PDF, they talk about how financial models should be created on Excel. So even the smallest of things they have spoken about, like what colors should be used, what type of border should be used, should the negative sign come on the left side or on the right side. So like this, they have a very large document, and they have spoken about everything. Should you have external links? How many sheets should you keep? In what order should you link these sheets and sort these sheets, right? Like this. So we recommend to PwC and EY that they should look at it and they should take away from it as much as they feel is important. But there is no rigidity. This is not like the gap that you have to follow it. It's not like that. But then it is recommended to follow this as much as possible, or at least read it so that you can create your own standards. Right? Okay. So I'm also going to share the link with you for the fast standard. Great. Let's come to filter. Now we've already done filter once. Let's do one more example, but this time it's a slightly more tough example. Let's see if we're able to solve it. Okay. Without me telling you, can you tell me what are we trying to do here? Anyone?
Filter standard class or second class or first class.
And we are filtering on the basis of the standard class ship mode and
sales from 0 to 100.
400. Okay. So then how many conditions are there?
Two.
No.
Three.
Three, right? Even though sales is one field, there are two conditions, right? So I'm saying that it has to be greater than 0. It has to be less than 400. If I just said greater than 0, then it would have been one condition. Okay. If I write equal to A9 to A26 equal to E2, what will I get?
True or false?
True and false. Okay. If I say equal to C9 C26 greater than equal to 0, same thing. And if I say equal to C9 C26 less than equal to 400, I get same thing. Now, if you look at this, which condition do I need for a row to be accepted? So if I want to accept the 9th row,
All true.
all of them should be true, correct? Now, how do I know that all the 3 are coming as true?
Transform them into 1 or 0 and then find if it is coming
That's
as
one way.
3.
That is one way we can use double unity, absolutely. But think of a simpler way. Anybody?
Sum is equal to 3, row by row.
No. Remember, sum does not work on true and false. If you want to do sum, then you first have to convert it into 1 and 0, right?
Right.
Think. Okay, and what else? See, now I know it's a little irritating because you might say, Havish, doesn't make sense. You just showed us that sum doesn't work. But if I multiply true into true into true, can anybody guess what will be the result? 1. Right? So if there is even one false in the 3 options, it gives me a 0. Now, logically, this should not work. Because if I can't do true plus true plus true, then how can I do true into true into true? What I mean to say is, if I write true and true, which is the inbuilt binary, and I say true and true, right? If this is working, oh, by the way, okay, there's another trick here. If you write sum, it doesn't work. But if you do it arithmetically like this, it works. So if I say plus, it will work. Does it make sense? Let me do it once again. If I write the function, it doesn't understand that true is 1. But if I do an arithmetic operator, it understands. Right, everyone? That's the reason when I do multiplied by true, it understands that the result should be 1. So this is a very peculiar thing in Excel. If you use a sum function, true is a text. Excel doesn't know that true is a 1. But if you say true plus true plus true, for example, I had, let's say, one more true here, then it would know that I want to do a 3 like this. But the sum will not work. Just think about it and tell me if you have any question on this. I'm also writing the formula here so that you can.
So we can do it another way, right? E column is equal to F column is equal to G column. Will that work?
Yeah, absolutely. But then the problem is that the result will, if I say equal to this, equal to this, equal to this, then the result will be true. Then I'll have to do the unary.
Right.
But you're absolutely correct. And I'm very happy that all of you are thinking of multiple ways. Any way that you're comfortable, do it. Mostly we try to reduce the length of the formula. So that's why I'm doing a multiplication. But if you say, no, why don't we just do it that way? We can do that too. But you know why we need to do the multiplication? You will understand it in a bit. Let's see if all of you are able to help me write the formula. Filter. What are we trying to filter here? What is the array? Everyone?
Shipping mode.
Ship mode and save.
The entire data. We need the entire data, right? So we select all the three columns. Now tell me, what is my inclusion?
Stand ship mode.
I will say my is equal to. After this, what do we do?
Sum of sales.
Multiplication.
Multiplied by.
Okay.
Multiplied by
Okay.
C9 C26 is less than equal to 0. And then once again multiplied by C9 and C26 is less than equal to G5. And let me just check if I made any mistake. Just a moment. A9 E26 is equal to E2. That's correct. Then multiplied by C9 C26 is less than equal to G4. Multiplied by C9 C26 is, I'm sorry, greater than equal to. Basically, we were getting a calculation error because none of the records were meeting that criteria. As you can see, it works and it's beautiful. If I change it to 200, it only shows me 3 transactions. If I make it 500, it shows me all the transactions. If I make it, let's say, first class, it only shows me 4 transactions like this. There is no limit on how many conditions you want. Like in this case, we have kept 3 conditions. Theoretically, you can keep as many conditions as you want. But I don't think there would ever be a need for you to do maybe more than 10 or 15 at most. Should I increase the size so we can see this? Please tell me.
So earlier you did multiplication for all the true values, no sir? That time,
Yeah.
how did you get the true values for customer name and sum of sales? I was not getting the syntax for it.
Sure. Equal to. No, customer name is not being considered at all in our formula. We are only looking at what are the 3 criteria that I have. One is a standard class shipping, sales value greater than 0, and sales value less than 500. Column B has no role to play here.
Yeah, sir, but could you please give the formula for the sum of sales at least? I'm not getting it.
All I did was equal to C9 C26 greater than equal to 0.
Okay, sir, thank you.
That's all. If I had done equal to, same result, no difference, right? I mean, there's really no difference. The reason I don't like to use equal to is because from a client perspective, I've seen that my clients get very confused. I mean, in any case, they're confused even with the filter function. But if I use equal to, they're even more confused saying, how can there be multiple equal tos in a formula? But it's a matter of choice because it doesn't really matter. At the end, we need a list of true and false. So whether you multiply or whether you do equal to, it will not make a difference. right? Any questions, anyone? Okay, let's now look at a fresh new problem. In fact, this was a problem I had some time back, and I used to do it using other ways. But then I asked myself, is there some way that I can do it using a single formula? And I managed to come up with the result. Little difficult, but then, I mean, something you will absolutely love. Okay, this is the problem statement. In column B, I have a list of emails that I have captured from the campaigns that I run. Obviously, sometimes the email is captured multiple times because there might be multiple impressions. So one email might be coming from LinkedIn, one might be coming from an email campaign, one might be coming from somewhere else. Right? So if you notice, Aaron Bergman is coming numerous times. How do we find the unique? Of course, we know how to find the unique. But if you notice, out of this list of names or other emails, 5 people have unsubscribed to my email campaign. That means that if tomorrow I want to send a new email, a batch email, obviously I will not be sending it to these 5 people. How do we do that? How do you get a list of people to whom you should send the email? That means from this, we need to find the unique, and somehow we need to remove these 5 people. Very cool problem, right? Because usually we all end up doing it manually, all of us. Because we don't even think that there is a way to make it into a formula, but we can, which is what I want to show you. Any questions on the problem statement, anybody? Anyone? Okay, now let's get started. Let me caution you that this formula is going to become a little long, but then it's also very good practice for all of you. All right, let's see. First things first, I will say equal to, in fact, I'm just putting it one cell below, or let's keep it there only, doesn't matter. I will say VLOOKUP. My lookup value is from B4 to B42, that means all of the names. And my table array is column C. Column number is 1, and it is a false. I'm assuming that all of you have worked with VLOOKUP earlier. Just tell me if somebody has not worked with VLOOKUP so that I can also do a quick recap.
So I haven't worked with it.
Haven't worked? Okay. No. Then let's go a step back. Sum is worldwide. It's the most used function in Excel worldwide. And worldwide, there are about 75 crore people, 750 million people that work on Excel. In fact, earlier today, I was writing an article. You might also want to read it. And I wrote an article on Excel about what are the components of Excel. Just in the morning today. So I wrote an article on the guide to the hidden universe of Excel features. Because I realized that a lot of people do not even know what all Excel has. So I said that Excel has formulas and functions. It has very powerful features like Lambda and let, which I will cover. We have Visual Basic for application. We have Power Query. We have Power Pivot. Then we have something called Script Editor, that is TypeScript. Then we have add-ins. We have a low-code programming language called PowerFX, and we also have Python integration. A lot of people haven't even heard of these things. They don't even know that I have something called PyXLL, which allows me to write Python codes directly within my Jupyter notebook inside Excel. How cool is that? Right? Just look at the seamless integration available. And a lot of firms are already using all these things. And here also, I kept these numbers. So as you can see, Excel has Office, not Excel, but Office has, and Excel is one of the most used features in Office, has over 750 million active monthly users, right? Interestingly, Google Suite has 2 billion users, but they don't split the numbers. So they don't say how much for Sheets and how much for Slides and how much for Docs. But then you know that using it is very different to the extent of using it. Somebody might be using Google Sheets 5% of their time, but Excel is what they're using 95% of the time. In 2017, Satya Nadella officially stated in an interview that Microsoft Excel is their most important consumer product. So if that doesn't tell you how important the product is, nothing will, right? And this is on record, right? In fact, even the link is there, so you can just go and read. And that's what Satya Nadella said, that Microsoft Excel is by far their most important consumer product because it reaches out to the maximum number of people. And people, once they purchase Excel and get used to it, they might also purchase some other Microsoft product in the future. Anyway, sum is the most used function worldwide, followed by average. And you know what the third function is? VLOOKUP. And Excel has more than 500 functions in it. So this should give you a lot of confidence that, oh, this is super important, right? So I can't afford to miss it. Now, I wasn't prepared that you don't know VLOOKUP. So I will have to show you an example on a different sheet with your permission, or maybe on this sheet itself. Please allow me to just copy this. Those of you who already know VLOOKUP, for you, this can be a recap, right? So this is my database where I have email, right? Then I have the name. And then I have, let's say, the ID. Okay. And what is my problem statement? I need to find ID for these people. That means, let's say I've selected 3 names from here. And I need to find the ID for these 3 people. So what we want to do is, let me just highlight everything for you. Just give me a moment. Okay. I need to search for this name in the entire table, but only in the first column, right? And where is the result? The result will be in the third column. Let me say once again, this is what I want to search in the entire table in the first column, and where is the result in the third column. So what do we write here? I will write equal to VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP stands for vertical lookup because they are vertically searching. What is the lookup value? So what are we searching for? We are searching for N4. The table, that means the entire data. So I'll select the entire data from top left to the bottom right corner, comma. In fact, to make it easier, let me just select the entire column like this. Right? Now, good. So far we have searched for Aaron Bergman and we know where it is. But we also need to search for the result. And where is the result? In the third column. Because first is email, second is name, third is email ID. So I say 3. And finally, it asks me what is the type of lookup. Here we say false. False means that I want to do an exact match. Exact means I'm searching for the exact spelling. This false, you just have to remember. You will always have to use false. Okay. There is a true as well, but that's only 1 out of 100 cases. 99 out of 100 cases you will use false. So what will it do? It will give me the ID for Aaron, Ben, and Jason. Right. If I want to find, let's say, the name, I can just change the column number to 2, and now it will show me the name like this. Any questions on this? Anyone? It's not difficult. I mean, so, but I hope you're very clear with this because we're going to use VLOOKUP in the example. Anybody? Any questions? All good? All right. Now, there is one more way of doing it. There is a new function called XLOOKUP. Some of you might not have heard of it. XLOOKUP is a dynamic array function. It's not a replacement for VLOOKUP, but it is considered to be sort of a replacement. VLOOKUP will also be there, and it has certain advantages. But in most cases, XLOOKUP is considered to be much simpler. Let me show you. In XLOOKUP, I will say my lookup value is N4. In fact, let me keep the other one also, right? So that you can see both of them. Hold on. We will say XLOOKUP. What are we searching for? N10. What is the lookup array? So this time we don't select the table. We only select the column, which is column H. And where is the result? In column J. Now, like I said, you can decide for yourself which one do you find is easier. But I think this is a no-brainer. I'm sure all of us will agree that XLOOKUP is much simpler. Let's look at the formula. VLOOKUP has the entire table. Then you have to select the column number. Then there is that very irritating false that you have to write at the end. In XLOOKUP, it's so simple. What are you searching for? Aaron Bergman. Where are you searching in column H? Where is the result in column G? Any question on this? I have an entire course on VLOOKUP. So for those of you who want to brush up your VLOOKUP knowledge, you can just go and have a look at this. So I have an entire course on VLOOKUP, which is the VLOOKUP Master Guide, has more than 30 lectures in it, covers everything related to VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP, approximate match, self-contained lookup table, index, match, offset, how to handle errors, how to do reverse lookup, how to do VLOOKUP with match. All the combinations have been given it. Okay. Now that we have learned what it is, in fact, we can even use XLOOKUP here. So I will say equal to XLOOKUP. What is the lookup value? B4 to B42. Where are we searching? In column C, and where is the result? It is also column C. Can somebody explain to me what has happened just now? What is the NA and where is an email coming? What does that mean? And why is it? Why are some results coming as an NA?
I think these are unsubscribed multiple times. They have sent you many mails, I think so.
Okay. Aaron's name is coming. Immediately, what does that tell you? Is he in the unsubscribed list? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, he is correct. Justin is coming as an NA. This is corresponding, no? Control, I'm sorry, if I just connect this, the second value is for Justin, this is for Craig, and this is for Catherine. These three names are coming as NA. What does that tell you?
They are not present in the
That they are not
unsubscribed
present
list.
in the list. And how do I prove it to you? If I add any name here, if I add Craig in this list, do you see this? The name Craig comes. So do not overcomplicate it more than it needs to be. It's a very simple task that I perform. I've said, tell me if the names in column B are present in column C. That's what we're trying to do. So obviously, sometimes it will come as the email when the value is there. Other times it will come as NA. Now, out of these values, tell me which are we interested in? Are we interested where the value is coming or not coming?
Not coming.
Not coming, right? So this is very interesting because by nature, we always think that errors are bad. But in this case, errors are good because I actually want to identify those values. Now, if I say not, what will happen?
You will reverse the formula.
No. Try to think about it. When I say not, it doesn't work because not only converts what to what?
0 to 1.
False to true, true to false, and 1 to 0, 0 to 1. But my results are not false and true, right? So not doesn't know what to do. So what I want to do here is I will say is NA. That means if the value is NA, it will become true, otherwise it will become false. Does this make sense?
Could you repeat one, sir?
Right now, what is our objective? Wherever there is an email, that means this I want to be false, this I want to be false, this I want to be false, because these are on the unsubscribed list, so I don't want them. What do I want to be true? All the NAs. Correct? And how do I do that? How do I tell Excel that only the NA should be true? I will say is NA. Is NA means only the NAs will be true, everything else will be false. Everybody, make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have the same number of items in column B and column E? So as you can see, I have 39 names here. So do I have 39 results here? Absolutely. Right? So tell me, what should we do next? We've already done this. Think about it. What do we do next?
Converting into ones and zeros.
No. I have 39 names. Next to each name, I have either true or false. So what do I want to do?
Filter the true.
Filter the data. So now I will say, I want to filter. And what do we want to filter? My name.
False.
My email IDs. No, I want to filter the true. True is the one who is not on the unsubscribe, remember? So I want to filter the true. So either say, what just happened? Just a moment. Let me just move it around. Just a second. So what I've done is I have set filter B4 to B42 as per the list of true and false. And as you can see, everybody, I had 39 names with me, and now I have 29 names. And obviously, you don't want to send the email twice. I can just come in the beginning and I can say the unique. And it tells me that I should be sending an email to 24 people. So these are the 24 unique email IDs who are not present on the unsubscribe list, right? Take your time. We are in no hurry. We are on track. We have done a lot of topics. I don't want to go to the next topic just for the sake of it, right? So please make sure to take your time and please try this out. But remember, we always go backwards. Excel formulas are never written. Just how do I show it to you? Just a moment. Excel formulas are always written backwards. That means, oh damn it, how should I show it? Anyway, you can understand. No, what is the first thing we wrote? X lookup. Then we wrote is NA. Then we wrote filter, and then finally we wrote unique. The problem with a lot of people is that they feel, oh, the formula is unique filter is NA X lookup. No, it isn't. The formula is from the innermost, you go backwards. So you say X lookup is NA filter and unique. Please try this out. There is something still left, but then I want to make sure you have understood it 100% before I add another level of complexity to it.
So I'm not getting the results. I'm just getting I'm getting an error with the same formula.
Just make sure there are 4 parentheses at the end.
Yeah, there are 4 parentheses.
Can you share your screen?
Yes, sir.
Unique filter is NA X lookup. Doesn't seem wrong. Hold on. Why is there a parenthesis before is NA? Before No, there will be one after, but why do you need the one before? Before I remove that and keep one. Yeah, remove that and keep one before X. Yeah, it should work now.
Thank you, sir.
All right. But in a practical scenario, so this is great, right? I can add more people to the unsubscribe list. And if I add somebody to unsubscribe, for example, Justin tomorrow says, no, I don't want to be receiving any more emails. The moment I add it to unsubscribe, do you see this? How nicely, dynamically, that name has been removed now. Right? Try this out, everyone. Just copy Justin and Craig, put it in unsubscribe, and see that the emailer list will reduce in size. Please try that.
Can you please go to the formula once?
Right, and you can also press Alt Enter after a comma to break the formula into multiple lines. Also, if you notice, I like to put spaces in my formula. You're allowed to do that, and it makes the formula a little easier, right? So these are, basic hygiene practices that you should follow. Break your formula into multiple lines as much as possible, and also put spaces in your formula very generously. The more spaces you add, the easier it will become to read the formula.
How do you break into 2 lines?
Alt Enter. After a comma, press Alt Enter.
Okay.
Which is called a line break. So let me give you a finance use case, something that I use so frequently. You understand what GL codes are, right, everyone? General ledger codes. So when you are selling products or there are expenses, we say GL codes. So you have a list of GL codes on one side in one column, and then you have a list of GL codes that have got updated, or for some reason they have been highlighted. And you want to find out how many GL codes are not there in the second list. How cool is that? You have 100 GL codes, 5 of them got updated. You want to make sure which ones of them did not get updated. How do you find that? How do you know which 95 have not got updated? That is the case where something like this can help you. I mean, this is a universal solution. This will help everybody, not just in one specific area. It will help everybody. Right.
So we used ISNA function because we had to convert the NAs into trues, right?
NA into true and the email ID into false. Absolutely.
Okay, the ones who were which have to be unsubscribed, they have to be converted into false.
Into false, because those who are because logically it makes sense. Anybody who's unsubscribed should not be present in column E. That is why I wanted it to be false.
Okay, sir, understood.
But there is still one limitation. Tell me, can somebody tell me that if I present this problem or this solution to a client, the client will ask me, what, Havish, if I add something to unsubscribe, will it work? As you can see, it is working. But there is one limitation we have. Can somebody tell me what is that? Why is the formula not completely dynamic? Tell me.
Because if you are adding in emails or campaign,
Absolutely.
you need to change the reference.
The problem is the moment you say, okay, the moment I have another email, if I add havishrao@gmail.com, this does not get added, no? This does not get reflected. And why not? Because we have selected B4 to B42. Now, some of you might say, let's just select 100, no? But then if you do 100, then you get that additional 0 at the end, which is the blank. Now, for most people, it doesn't matter. They say, okay, it's a small price to pay. At least it's dynamic now. But now that you are in finance, this is not something you should be happy with. Getting that extra 0 is not a good sign. You shouldn't do that. So what I'm going to show you now is a little more complex than what we've already done, but just pay attention and I will walk you through it. First, let me explain it like this, okay? On a column 1, 2, 3, okay? Can somebody tell me which is the last row in which a value is there in column X? Which is the last row with a value? How do you find that? Which is the last row? It is 6th row, correct? How do you find that? Any idea? Match. Then
select X6, number 3. It will give you the address of the row.
Match what?
Match the value, number 3.
Match the value? I don't know the value. It could be any value, right? See, If you knew the value, then what's the big deal? But I don't know the value. It could be any value, right? So there's a trick here. What we do is we say match 9.99e. Can somebody tell me what is 9.99e? 9 followed by 99 values, correct? So it's a super large number, right? So when I say 9 followed by 99 numbers, it's a huge number, right? If I search for this in column X, right, and then this match type is -1, it doesn't work. Why not? Hold on. Just give me a moment. I just want to make sure that it works online as well. I don't see a reason why it would not. Just a second. So I'm matching 9.99e, and then I'm searching in column I. I'm doing a less than. Yeah, it's working here. Should I change the way I have written it? Okay, hold on. Let me try it in a different.
You use 0 and -1 and not 1.
Yeah, just write it like this. So we write 9e plus 99, which basically means 9 followed by 99 numbers. And if I do a search in column X, it gives me 6. That's the answer we want to know. If I put another number in 10, it's giving me 13. If I put another number in 20, I get 20. Can somebody tell me the relevance of getting this number? Look back at this. Can
So
somebody tell me?
you can limit your reference to that cell.
What do I need to change? In this entire formula, what has to become dynamic? My email is starting on B4, but what has to become dynamic?
The B42 part.
B42, right? Because I know I can say to Excel that B4 will never change because that is where the data started. But B42 has to become 43, 44, 45. Now, every time I can't go and change it manually because I don't know whether it became 47 or 52. So I want that part to become dynamic. But there's another complexity here. The problem is twofold. Number one, match will not work with text values. So if you notice, if I write A here, it will still give me 30 because we're searching for a number, no? So match can only tell me that the last used row with a number in it is the 13th row. It can't tell me that there is a text in 20th. So I will have to create a sequence of numbers. Please do this with me, everyone. Just write what I'm writing. Equal to sequence. Tell me, how many rows do we want here? How many rows do we want? If I want the numbers from 1 to n, what is n? How many rows do we? How do you know that? It's very simple. It's very simple. How do I know how many emails are in column B? We've already done this. How do you count the number of emails in column B? What function do you use?
Count A.
Count A. Why are we overcomplicating it? Count A, column B, but I will have to do a -1. Why are we doing -1? To exclude
The blanks.
the heading.
Heading.
Otherwise, that emails from campaign will also be included, correct? If I say sequence, count A, baby -1, what will it do? It will automatically create a sequence of numbers till 40. In fact, in your case, it will be 39. Please try this, everyone. Tell me if it is working. I'm writing the formula here. And we just have one last step after this. Then we are done with this example. But tell me if it is working for you.
Yes, it is working.
So
It's working. It's very simple, no? No confusion here. Still, if you have something, please ask. All good? Now, let's test it out. So tomorrow, if I add something, I'm just writing age. You notice that the serial number automatically gets updated. Very cool. Okay. So now we are getting there. Somehow, I can now find the last row because even though I can't find the last row from column B, I can find it from A, and A and B will always match because it's dynamic. So I'm just doing it here so that you can see it. Tell me, match, what should we write now? Try to recall. Anyone? 9E
plus
99. In which column are we searching?
A column.
Column A. And what will be the match type? 1.
Exactly.
Right? It will give you 42. Is this correct? Let's check. 42, as you can see, everybody, is my last row. How cool is that? Now, does that mean that I can just select this entire formula and paste it where this 42 is written? Will that work? Not really, because B4 colon B42 is a range, correct? So I have to use a function called indirect, which I will explain in more detail. So this is one of those examples where you have to be a little patient with me. For now, just use indirect, and I will explain indirect in a different example, right? So I will use indirect here, where B4 to B is fixed, but I'm concatenating it with this match. Same thing here. I'm writing indirect, and I'm saying that B4 to B42 in this B4 to B is fixed, and I'm doing a match here. If we have done everything correctly, which I think we have, we are not getting a result. Hold on. Let me check. Okay, there's one more parenthesis that has to close here after the indirect. Yeah, as you can see, everybody, I know it's slightly difficult. You will have to go back and practice this. But it's a beautiful formula that we have written, because watch how cool this is. Tomorrow, if I add havishrao@gmail.com, it automatically gets added to that list. Amazing, right? It's a fully automated solution that we have created. Please don't copy it. Everybody, please don't copy it. And I'll tell you why. Is there any repetition in my formula? Anybody? Is there any part of the formula that is being repeated 2 or 3 times?
Before that,
this entire part which I've highlighted, correct? This is being repeated 2 times, right? Don't you feel it is a little stupid that we're writing the same thing 2 times? I mean, it doesn't make any sense, no? Because Excel has to compute it 2 times, so it will take more time. Plus, the formula becomes so long needlessly. And the final step of this formula is we use a function called let. Let allows us to say that this part of the formula will be used 2 or more than 2 times. So rather than writing it 2 times, I can only write it 1 time. Let me just show you how that works. I'm going to cut it, and I will say that my calc, any name, is this, right? And then rather than writing it entirely, I can just write my calc here, right? And I can write, you will see how smaller the formula becomes now. Significantly smaller by writing my calc. And just give me a moment. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That seems okay. Let's see what the problem can be. So row and match, this seems all right. Unique filter, I'm filtering my calc. And then next lookup, I'm doing my calc. That's strange. Okay, let's do a debugging.
My calc will close thrice before unique, sir.
No, but NA is also part of the filter, no? Never mind, let me go back. Like I told you in the beginning, this is going to be a little complex. Let's see. So okay, let's do it properly. So this is let. I have given a name value. This is my calculation. Okay, I'm finding the unique of filter, and I'm filtering what array? My calc. Perfect. And then what am I including? I'm including is NA, where in X lookup I'm saying my lookup value is my calc. Lookup array is like this, and then the return array. Do I have? Oh, there's a one more parenthesis, no? Because let also has a parenthesis, right? Yeah, like this. Don't you feel, everybody, that this formula looks much cleaner than earlier? It's still complex. Mind you, it's not easy. There are many things that I've taught you, and I really want you all to go back and practice. But the steps are, number 1, we did a match. Why did we do the match? Because that told us the last row. I combined that with B4B, so it became B4B42. I saved it in a name called mycalc because I know I need to use it 2 times. After that, I did an X lookup. That's the second part. In X lookup, I searched for the value. So I got a list of email IDs and NA. How did I convert the results into true and false? By using is NA. After that, I did filter so that only the trues get filtered. And finally, I did a unique. If I highlight the steps for you, everyone, I would say that the first thing I did was very irritating. Just a moment. I personally don't work on online. I don't like working online because I have a business version of Excel, but that's okay. Let me show it to you in a screenshot so that all of you can see this. Right? Let me break it down. What is the first step that we did? We said that let's find the match. What is the second step we did? Once we had the match, we assigned it a name, right, called mycal, which is B4 to B42 or 43, whatever it is. Now that we have a range in mycal, which is stored in mycal, the third step was we did a X lookup that gave us email ID and NA. And then I did is NA that converted the result into true and false. Then I filtered only the true values because I do not need the false values. And finally, I only wanted to look at the unique email IDs like this. So I hope this helps you a little bit when you look at the steps in which we are. See, with more complex formulas, we don't go backwards. Like I said earlier, with more complex formulas, there's a little bit of haphazard order where, if you place the numbers, you see that the function works in, a different direction. If there are any questions, you can ask me, but in any case, you will have to practice it a couple of times to really understand it. But let me assure you, if you practice this properly, and if you understand 100% how this works, you're on the road to learn advanced Excel. Right? I can assure you of that.
Sir, I have one question.
Please.
Why haven't you kept the email from campaign as a format as a table? Because it will automatically.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Very good observation. But the simple answer to that is 4,000 participants at PwC, 1% of them work with tables. Can you tell me why? If they're so smart, and they're working with, why do you think they work with tables? They do not work with tables.
It will increase the file size.
No, tables only improve the file processing. They improve the speed. They don't increase it. There's some other reason. What is the reason? Okay, out of the 27 of you that are there right now, how many of you know what a table in Excel is? Just put a 1 on the chat window. If you know what a table is. This thing, when I click on insert, this thing called a table. Not a pivot table, but a table. How many of you know what a table is? Just put a 1. Do you get your answer? See, the problem with tables is that very few people know what tables are, right? Also, even if you know what tables are, your client might not know it. So the problem is the moment I convert a data set into a table, other issues come in. For example, if I may show you here, the moment I make this into a table, right? Insert table. The moment I write equal to E6, or just a moment.
It will spill the values.
No. What I'm trying to tell you is that when I write equal to table 1 and people say, what the hell is this? What are you doing? What is all this? Because a user who has never seen tables earlier, he will never understand what you did. Because this @ symbol is not used in Excel anywhere else. Because of the complexity that table adds, Big Fours never use tables. Very rare that I've seen them use tables. And always, I remember when I started training them in 2018, I used to tell them in 2017, in fact, I used to tell them, please use tables. And I have 2 other trainers with me. They used to say, Havish, don't. And I was like, why? They're so much better. And then over a period of time, I realized that in financial models means you need to have independent control over every cell. The problem with a table is that you don't have independent control, because the moment I say table 1 and I select, let's say, customer name, it will give me the entire column, which you can say is a good thing. I can also say from a financial modeling perspective, it's a bad thing, because you need to have independent control over each cell value. So I'm not saying don't use it. I use it everywhere. But then in practical usage, if you do a survey with 15 companies, trust me, 99% of them will tell you what is a table. They've never heard of it.
The reason being, actually, in the email campaign example, I was just referring to it.
No, I absolutely get that. I could not agree with you more that tables would have made it so much simpler, because it's dynamic, it will pick up the values. But then the reason, see, it's a beautiful feature, but we can't use it, unfortunately. And the reason we can't use it is because people don't use it. If the market is not using it, then I can't create a solution which others will not be able to understand.
Right. Thank you.
Great. Any other question, anybody?
So is the name mycal's case sensitive? Like in many programming, the let function, I think.
I think this will auto fix. So if I write it with a capital C, yeah, it will auto fix.
Okay, okay, sir.
So
Got it.
so basically it's not case sensitive in the sense that it will automatically fix the case. Good. What else?
So in this sort sheet, is there any formula? For example, if I have different securities in the portfolio, equity, debt, and all, I want to filter only the top 2 securities.
In which one? In sort?
Yeah, in both the categories. For example, I have a portfolio of many equity securities. And I want to filter out on the basis of condition that security is equity. What are the top 2?
Yeah. So for top, we do like, for example, let's take this example. You want to find the top 2 values. That's what you're saying, right?
Right.
Yeah. Without filtering, without sorting the data. So you can do equal to large. You can select the range, and then in curly braces, you will put 1 and 2. So you'll get the top 2.
Okay.
If you want to see them in a column, you can do transpose, and then it will give you the top 2 like this. Remember, this is a different character. This is not a parentheses. It's not a bracket. It's a curly bracket, right? Like this.
Thank you, sir.
I think I'll be covering this in some other example. If I don't, you can always ask me later.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Good question. Anybody, anything else? All right. So what I'm going to do is I will be speaking to you once I look at my calendar, because I have a training with GSK coming up, which will be 2 batches. And I think one batch is, if I'm not mistaken, from, I don't know, 4 to 5:30 or something. Let me just check one. I have still not frozen the dates, but it's 4 to 5:30, but they have to confirm the timing. If that happens, then 6 will not be possible for me, because I need to have some buffer. Because if this batch, if the GSK one stretches, then I need to have some window in between, right? Yeah. So can we do 6:30 to 8:30? Everyone?
Okay.
Will that work? Because by then you will be free from your other engagements and it's still pre-dinner. So will that work?
What time, sir?
6:30 to 8:30 in the evening.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Works
So I think that's what I do with most colleges. I either do 7 to 9 or I do 6:30 to 8:30, right? So that dinner is not spoiled because of it. And that's sort of an empty window. I mean, I know it's tiring after a full day to do it, but then can't really help that. The dates I will have to come back to you. I'll just look at my calendar and let you guys know, because once this GSK, I will only hear from them on Monday. So you'll have to give me time till Monday. Is it okay if we do a session on Monday and then decide from there when the next one happens? Will that be okay?
Sir, I'm so sorry I missed the conversation because of this connection.
No problem. We were just discussing the dates for the rest of the days for the training. So I was saying that, can we do a session on Monday?
Monday at what time? 4 p.m. to 5:30?
No. This is something that I'm already engaged with. No, this is 14. I'm sorry, what am I saying? Next week is okay. Monday, I'm free. So Monday, if you want to do even a little earlier, that should be possible. Let me just check if I have a meeting or something. 3 to 3:45. Yeah. So other than 3 to 3, no, this is, I'm sorry, what am I looking at? This is Friday. Okay, I don't think I have got my calendar invite yet. There will be one meeting I have on Monday. I'm not sure what time it is, but that shouldn't be late in the evening. So can we do a session on Monday from whatever time, 6 to 8 or something? And then from there, we can decide how to go forward.
Well, I'm so sorry. Actually, my internship is going on, and that a mentor gets free after 6 only from his company work and all that. So
Yeah.
that is
See,
why.
guys, now I can't speak to everybody individually. You tell me. I'm okay with 7 to 9. I'm okay with 8 to 10. I'm okay with 9 to 11. I'm okay with 10 to 12. Okay. I can do 10 p.m. to 12 midnight as well. Right. I'm still giving you guys the freedom to choose the time, but you have to pick. You have to decide. I'm giving you many options, right? So I'm not saying it has to be this time, but then we have to fix something.
So by when you need to know, like, is it okay? We can all discuss, like, if someone is having a problem, by tomorrow morning or
No
afternoon,
problem.
we
No,
can let you
there's
know.
no hurry. You let me know. You let me know by tomorrow. There might be a little bit of to and fro. Weekends would not be a problem, obviously. So if you're doing, let's say, next Saturday or Sunday, or maybe if you want to have a session tomorrow itself, right? Which is what I would encourage you to do. I know it's a Sunday, but
So
at
we'll
least
let you know after we discuss, like, if someone is having an issue or someone is having any problem. So
yeah, but
but by when you need to know? If tomorrow, if I don't know if people are going to be there for tomorrow's session or what, so by latest by when you need to know?
see, we have to do a session on Monday. Okay, so you tell me what time you want, and I will try my very best to spur that. Right, but a session on Monday.
So maybe we can ask. So maybe we can ask everyone and let you know the time as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. No, not as soon as possible, because I also have to plan accordingly. You
Yes.
have to let me know by maybe tomorrow afternoon or something.
Yes.
On Monday, when do we do the session? And then on Monday, we can take it from there, because Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll not be available unless you want to do a late session, because I'm busy with PwC. I have an EY session the entire day. That gets late. That gets over pretty late, right? 10th, 11th, as you can see, I'm free. Right, so we are doing a session on Monday, definitely. We'll do a 2-hour session. And by afternoon tomorrow, you let me know what time on Monday suits you. So 4 to 5, 4 to 6, 5 to 7. Somebody said you can't do it at that time. So maybe we can do 7 to 9 or 8 to 10 or 10 to 12, however it is.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. Sir.
Excellent. All right, then. So I think we can call it a day. I would need everybody's names and email IDs. So you can send it across to me so that I can create a teachable account for you. The recording for the session will be uploaded maybe in another hour or maybe 1.5 hours. So you should be able to watch it. Right? But I'll need everybody's email IDs and names first. All right. Excellent. So thank you, everybody, for joining me on the first day. We have many more things to cover. Let's catch up on Monday then.
Okay, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Tell me.
Yes, sir. Sir, could you please share the recording, like for today's session?
That's what I said, right? The recording will be on Teachable, but I need your email IDs and names so that I can create the account for you.
So, sir, will it be activated on today, like after the session, or once all the sessions gets over?
Within 2 hours.
Okay, thank you.
So Shritashi will be doing the needful, like collect all our email IDs anywhere there. So will you send sir or?
Yes, definitely I'll do that.
Yeah. Definitely. So once that's done, then sir can give us the recordings, right?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
I'll see you on Monday.
Thank you, sir.
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 Thank you so much, sir.